Hi there, my name's Tiffany and I am with Faber-Castell's Design Memory Craft booth. Faber-Castell's been around for about 250 years and the Design Memory Craft line was designed specifically for crafters in mind. So we pulled different products from different lines and made little collections that are pretty hands-on for crafters. I have this little banner here and we're going to use a variety of techniques and products. So let's begin. The first products we're going to use are our gelatos, and these are basically watercolors in a tube. I relate the consistency to lipstick or chapstick. They're completely water soluble, so you can just go ahead and color directly down on your canvas. This is the most popular way to use them, is on canvas. And then you can just blend it. You can kind of see how creamy they are. I'm going to add a little bit more blue to my outside. And then you'll see how nice the texture is once I add water. These are our matte gelatos, but we also have shimmers. So that's pretty fun. You can also add color on top of the wet canvas if you're not happy with how it's blending. So I'm going to add some more on my outside edge just for some dimension. And it should blend right on because they're completely water soluble. Another way to use the gelato is in a spray form. We created this spray by taking a gelato and chipping a bit of it off. We added some water to create a paste, and then we added it right into the bottle. So you get a good spray. You can make it as opaque or translucent as you want. For time's sake, we made ours a bit translucent. So what I'm going to do is use this as a mask to create a polka dot background. So I sprayed it about 4 times. You can lift it up and see how cool that is. And because we have shimmers, you could also make it a shimmer spray. And because everything's water soluble, you could also make custom colors. So I'm going to put that one aside to dry. For our third pennant, we're going to be using our Stampers Big Brush Marker. And this is India ink. So once it's dry, it's permanent and light fast and completely waterproof. And I'm just going to use it as an ink onto my stamp and color right onto the stamp. Just going to color real briskly. And this is a penny black stamp. I'm just going to stamp it right onto the canvas. And you can get about 3 to 4 generations with these markers. The next thing we're going to use are our Aquarelle Art Grip pencils. And these are our special watercolor pencils. They are completely water soluble, but once they are dry, they are permanent. And I'm just going to use it to create a mask around the sun. I'm going to start with the darkest color, and then I'm going to color around it with the light colors. A cool thing about these pencils is their triangular shape, so they grip really well. The leads are super solid, so they're not going to break on you in your pencil sharpener or chip off on you while you're using them. So now I'm just going to go around with some yellows and oranges. And you'll see once I add the water how rich and dense those pigments are. So you don't have to color perfect with them because they're all going to blend really nicely. They also come in different color families, so right now I'm using the reds, but we also have blues and greens, and they each have a good variety of colors. They also come in some shimmers, so you can get a silver and gold and add some shimmer to your project. So see how I colored that sort of like a 5-year-old? You're going to see how nice they blend together. Just going to add a bit of water, and I'm just going to pull out those pigments. And you can see how bright and vibrant these are. This is actually my favorite product from Faber-Castell's Design Memory Craft line. It's a really nice fine art product for us scrappers. I pulled up some of the ink off the tape. Sorry about that. So you can see how vibrant they become when you add that water. And it'll stay that way once it's dry. If I'm not happy with how it looks on the wet canvas, as long as it's wet, I can add some more color with the pencils. So I'm going to keep mine like that. I'm just maybe going to come in with a darker orange. And you can see, because the lead is water soluble, that it blends really nicely onto that wet canvas. There we go. I'm going to set that aside to dry. And the next thing we're going to do is create a wash with a pink shimmer gelato. And this is my favorite way to use these. I'm just going to scribble some down. That's my palette. And I'm going to add some water to create a wash. And I'm just going to paint that right onto that sheet music butterfly. And this one has some sparkle, so it's really pretty. But it's not too glittery. It's real subtle. I'm going to set that one aside to dry. And the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to stamp on my letters. And I'm going to use one of the stamps that come in our little kits with the black Stampers Big Brush Marker. And again, this is India ink, so it's really vivid. This is actually the darkest black ink that I've ever owned. I did a comparison to Palette, Memento, Close to My Heart, Stampin' Up, Stays On, and they all tended to fade once they've been stamped. This one does not fade. It's very light fast. So I'm going to go from one letter to the other. Again, you can get about 4 to 5 generations out of your stamp. And there's the letters. Just going to clean that off a little. So now we have all our pieces for our banner. If you remember, that's the first piece. Just going to start adhering everything. I'm using Zip Dry. It's finicky. Sorry. There we go. So I'm going to put my A down in that pennant. And then for the middle pennant, we're going to go back to our mist. I'm going to center that R onto the butterfly. And then I'm going to adhere that butterfly to the center. And then for our last pennant, I'm going to adhere the T. Now I'm going to punch some butterflies just for an accent. Who doesn't like butterflies? And this is a Martha Stewart punch. And that's real sheet music. So now I can just start piecing everything together. I'm going to take it off its little backing that I created. And the reason why I added that tape was to prevent some curling. But if you did this at home, you could use either a thicker canvas or you could adhere them to some cardboard. Then I'm going to use my Crop-A-Dile to punch some holes. This is the only tool my husband will use. He says it's super manly, besides the pink handle. He thinks it's really cool that it can cut through everything. There's that. now I'm going to adhere my little butterflies. I think I'm going to put some down right here. So the last thing to do is just to string it all together. But instead of doing that, I'm going to show you one last way to use the gelato. It's one of my favorite ways, because my project isn't quite dry. Put that down. So I'm going to pull that stamp that we used in the beginning. And I'm just going to show you a quick technique. And I missed it. I'm just going to clean it off just a little. So another fun way to use the gelatos is with a silhouette stamp like this. You would just mist it lightly. And because these are water soluble, you can color directly onto your stamp. And I'm going to create a gradient from blue to pink, and hopefully I'll pick up some purple there in the middle. And you can see where you're coloring. If you want to, you can mist it a little bit again. It goes on like butter, and then you can stamp it off. So that's another fun way to use the gelatos. I hope you enjoyed the make and take. Again, my name's Tiffany, and I was using the Faber-Castell Design Memory Craft line. Bye!